Ruler School is brought to you by Odyssey Games, where you can go to pre-order upcoming Force of Will sets, ccgprime.com for singles and supplies, cardodoko.com for those rulers in the international market looking for product, the Ruler School Circuit Series now offering our Quarter 2 2024 circuit kits, and our guest lecturer members, Fight Ramen. Class is in session. Hey there, rulers! Welcome back to after a long week of Force of Will to Office Hours, your favorite ever live Force of Will podcast featuring me, DMO73, and I'm joined as always by Paul Reisman.
I'm back from my own plane of existence where I get to reanimate fossils and things.
Hooray! And Mike Rants.
Phasing out of this current plane of existence, I do not vibe with this universe.
Oh, weird. Well, we'll see you when you get back, Mike.
All right, peace.
Bye. She just fades out of existence. Anyway, we're here. A few housekeeping notes before we really dig into it for tonight. Just as a reminder, if you like what we're doing, want to consider supporting us on the channel, you can click that join button down below. Gets you access to all kinds of cool perks, including those awesome emotes that you have. And it's the easiest way to support us financially. Although we're just glad that you're sticking around and participating in the chat regardless. Also, this weekend, this coming Saturday and Sunday, is the Ruler School Discord Circuit Series event for this quarter, where we will be giving out this playmat. Whoa. It's awesome. We have 7 of the top 8 versions, a champ version, and we will be raffling off some exclusive will coins of all the Sun Children and Moon Children that was brought to us by, donated to us by Converging Wills. So if you enter, you get entered into a raffle to win some of those. We're going to spread them out over a couple of circuits. We're not just going to give all of them away right on this first one, but we'll spread them out over the next few Ruler School events. So stay tuned for that. There's a link in the description to go get signed up for that event. And I can officially announce that we have been approved for the artwork for next quarter's circuit kit. So I want to show that off right now. It's 2 friends and a cat.
2 friends and a cat.
2 friend and a cat is going to be the quarter 3 circuit playmat, which is awesome. I was super happy about it. It was really nice to be able to get, I looked through all of Trinity Cluster so far, and I was like, what do I think is going to be the best mat for the quarter to really kick things off for Trinity Cluster? And this just felt like the one for sure. We got approved for it, so this will be the kit. Orders for this are actually currently up for stores to be able to go and place their orders for their kit. So if your store is interested or considering playing a kit, let them know, rulerschooltcg.com. They can go get their kit order in for this for the next set. So 2 friends and a big cat who may not be a cat. It might not actually be a cat, but it's 2 friends and a cat.
And just to end, the end was just in time for Pride Month. Happy Pride, everyone. Lesbian mommies are here to
there you go.
Part of your playmats.
Really cool to be able to get this artwork. Having seen this card also in Uber, it looks phenomenal in Uber as well. So it's just really cool to be able to see. Who knows? Maybe I'll try to do a super exclusive one of these kits. Will have an Uber version of the playmat in it for the champ. I'm not promising that in any way, shape, or form. It's just now that Ubers are back, there's a part of me that wants to see if it's possible to try to start making raffle-y style exclusive Uber playmats to try to sneak in there. But I don't know. I think that might be kind of
Jeremy's just said that he wants to do it, which means we all have to harass him until he does it.
Listen, I tell you what,
with the Forcible community.
I'll tell you what. If we sell 25 of these kits, I will design an Uberized version and ask the company to approve me sneaking in an Uberized version into one of the kits, where the champion version will be an Uberized version. I have to sell 25 kits, and also there's no promise that the company would approve it, but I'll at least start the effort if we get to 25 kits. So, yeah, because the Uber 2 friends and a cat is hands down the best looking Uber of the set, having pulled it, and it's amazing. It looks great. But we did get a video today from Rio, and so it's kind of a chill night, kind of in a slow news day. We had a really heavy discussion last week that I think was really good, and I hope people have enjoyed the aftermath of that discussion, and I can see people understanding their positions and talking about it a little bit more in a more constructive way, which I think is great. but we're starting to get into testing. We're starting to get into experiential stuff. And so today we're just going to be talking about our kind of initial experiences playing with Thoth of the Trinity and the news about Set 2 that was announced today. So I'm pretty excited about that. So Mike, how's your experience been playing with Thoth of the Trinity? What are you thinking so far?
I sure have looked at some cards.
You know what? That's more than I can ask for with you, so I'll take it.
Got him.
Got him. I know that I personally I've been tweaking around with Wu Xiao Wu. I was already kind of goofing around with him for a bit, and I have been doing math on people with Helen and the Road to the Sacred Number. I will say, Road to the Sacred Number is not as much of a meme to pull off as you think. Like, you can just math someone to death on turn 2.
You can just dunk on him?
You can't. I mean, like, legitimately, I have mathed someone on turn 2 and just been like, the game's over.
GG, WP.
I mean, it's usually safe on turn 3, so I have, like, some interaction and protection, but, like, most kind of silly combo decks, we can sometimes just go in and kill you on 2, and it's not actually that hard to set yourself to 100 life. Or to 200 life. It's really not. Yeah. Getting bullied by Secret Duel. Secret Duel in the Moonlight. You just set yourself to 200 life and then be like, okay, game. I've got 2 mirrors in hand and 2 stones available. What are you going to do? Bah. But those have been fun. I'm excited to try to dig into some of the other rulers as well, like revisiting Lehen and Yokoshima. But those have been kind of the ones that I've been assigned to the beginning. So, Paul, you've been digging into the more complicated rulers that definitely don't feel so straightforward. I definitely gave myself the easy assignment with Lehen and Wu Xiao Wu in terms of deck building. So, what's it been like for you over in Lucy and Utsune's land?
It's been very interesting.
Sure.
I've been doing a lot of deck building and a lot of deck testing,
Sure.
specifically with Lucy. Lucy's complicated, man. She's so complicated. More along the lines of her restrictions and making sure I understand what restrictions her stuff has, especially with test tubes.
Yeah.
That's been the biggest thing. But other than that, she's been very fun. I've learned a lot about how she operates every time that I play her, and I'm taking her back to locals next week to just see what else I can do.
Yeah. Yeah. This, I think one of my biggest takeaways, even just from the jump playing in this format, so I'm curious to see if you're experiencing it too, has been I'm already seeing that 2-drops and 3-drops and 4-drops specifically named Sphinx are very playable. like I'm already feeling that there are times where I feel more comfortable playing a 2-drop than I would a 1-drop. Like, just because, of Mirror existing or Muse Spirit existing or anything, like it just feels like playing a card for full value has felt fine. Like, I haven't felt bad doing that, at least so far.
Yeah, I would say Mirror is exactly as powerful as we thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Super Girian.
Yeah.
It's just Super Girian. Card's absolutely cracked, and it was so good, I decided, hey, I'm going to try Falchion in Lucy.
Oh, yeah, the 2-drop Rezo. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's been great. I put Falchions in
what
as
an
well.
interesting tech in for
Falchion. Fiolas.
Oh, Fiolas
just
also.
You can search them off of test tube.
Yeah, because you can dig them
there's
off of
some
test
cool things
tube.
you can do
Yeah.
there. But yeah, like I haven't felt bad playing 2-drops at all.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, that's the other thing too, is what I've been I haven't done a ton of testing. I've only done some experiential stuff, right? And I've only played in 1 locals. But what I'm already seeing is that in an environment where Muse or Spirit of the Ruins and Mirror are respected via deck building, you feel them get worse. Like, you feel Spirit and Mirror suddenly drop in terms of being a good card. Not that they're not good, but you're just like, oh, my opponent is respecting this with how they've built their deck. That sucks a lot of the wind out of the strength of this card, right? Things like paying 3 will for a Ray Asnable, paying 2 will for a Vacus, paying 2 will for a Girl Staring At, paying 2 will for a Campanella. These are things that I have not minded doing, and it still feels really solid. Even paying 2 will for 2 friends and a cat, just to be able to make sure that both modes, gets to go off or things like that. That I'm already finding that is just fine. I don't feel like I'm, taking some kind of moral high road by playing in that environment, or that I'm just like, oh, Jeremy's just playing for locals. I don't feel like that's what I'm doing at all. I feel like this is just what I'm actually playing, which is cool, which is nice. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited. It also makes me think that, Delorious, put the spirits in the mech and throw them at your opponent's face. Yeah, that's fine with me. There's also a reason why I've talked about this with you a little bit, Paul. For Utsune's, the idea of making her the tried and true actual stone ramp deck. In terms of Sacred Burial, the 2-drop quick cast Melfi that can tap to produce will of any color, going way back in the Wayback Machine, right, for that, or things like Sympathy of Fire and Wind, things that if the cancel deck can't play Mirror, the cancel deck wants to play higher cost cards, and to do so actually has to ramp. But in an era where 2-drops are fine, 2-drop ramp cards are pretty good, especially when they're quick cast, so things like that. Flash Freeze, also a great card. Hydrea being a thing makes you have to mix how you draw or draw looking at a top kick. Yeah, for sure. The gameplay, the game state has already evolved just by those cards existing. You also can't just play 1-drop spot removal anymore. You just can't, because if your opponent gets out a Sphinx, you will just cry. Sphinx has already shown that you have to diversify your spot removal options, or you will be in so much pain that you will just be dying, right? There's a lot of, that's an interesting idea. Trow. Yeah. Trow to grab a 1-drop, ramp a stone, and then next turn play Sacred Burial with the Trow. That could be definitely a line for Utsune's. That's pretty neat.
Sure.
Utsune's out here gonna go coin dinner time, produce 3 will, pitch Trow, get a stone, go to my turn, get a stone. Well, maybe, I don't know.
That's certainly something a green deck can do.
Yeah, the OLS week only had
one.
Be
real. My build has not gone in that direction.
Fair.
At all.
Fair.
So.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of exploring to do. We talked about this before in our team chat, is that there are 3 rulers I think out the gate that their clear and obvious package are the ones that are oh, this is what's competitive, kind of out the mindset, and the others are in the category of could be competitive, except for Wu Xiaowu, or could be competitive, but we got to work at it. We're gonna have to put them in the shop for a bit, which is Lucy, Lehen, and Yokoshima are kind of out the gate the most competitive ones, with Helen and Gandinia and Utsune's being the ones we got to work for, and then Wuxia was sitting over in the corner being I'll be good eventually. And Mike, what are you doing over there?
I'm once again simply vibing.
He's here. He's vibing. If there was one of these, I guess I will say this. I guess I'll say this. Of the so you were with us through spoiler season.
I was.
you were with us through spoiler season. Of the 8 rulers introduced, right? Because we got one for every color plus void. Yeah. Of the 8 rulers introduced in this set, which of these rulers do you think is one that you would, if given the cards, most enjoy like experimenting with?
I'm contractually obligated to say mommy.
That doesn't help. There's 3 of them based on
They're
your
all
preferences.
mommies, Mike.
Jeremy, please.
So Gandinia,
You know who I'm
right?
talking
Gandinia,
about.
right?
Correct.
Okay, just make it.
I'm
Listen,
contractually obligated.
listen. Based on your preferences, there are 3. There is Beast Mommy, there is Biker Mommy, and there is Gandinia Mommy. So I just,
Fair enough. I totally understand that. So I'm contractually obligated to say bondage mommy.
sure.
But from a gameplay perspective, I think Utsune's actually fits my gameplay perspective mostly. It's
Sure.
much like a mid-range reanimator, which has been such a core concept in my eyes for
Yeah,
a long time.
yeah, for sure. It feels the
Like,
most
it's a
like
fun.
the more I look at her build and the more that I look at her in the concept of like current era FOW, the more I harken back to like I said, the idea of ramp and the idea of finding things that cost or more to help advance my getting more stones so that I can play bigger things, right? And I just think of like I said, the fact that 2 drops resolve in this environment. So I'm just like,
Insane.
so I'm like, so Melfi, that's a 2-drop that's also ramp and it's a body. And like the idea of being able to stop
Jeremy,
something.
Melfi's banned.
No. The tap Melfi from like CFC tap Melfi.
I know
like
who you're talking about.
going back
That's
that
a joke.
far, right? I'm like, that seems good. That seems fine. Sacred Burial, blue green. We saw this trick kind of fall out of popularity a little bit, but the idea of aspiring diva plus Sacred Burial, that kind of world, right? Where you do some things like that to ramp and draw and keep your hand advantage up, or Sympathy of Fire and Water or Sympathy of Fire and Wind, so you have like a spot removal that also becomes ramp, kind of, that kind of stuff. Like there feels like there's something there. It feels very traditional green ramp control, which to me, kind of like in today's age, because we don't have conflict and everyone's relying on mirror, is kind of like, oh, there might actually be something there as like a green ramp control. That's kind of neat. Let's go start playing, what was it? With all that ramp, let's start playing Lorite's deletion magic.
Don't tell me with a good
the X spell, the green cancel X spell. Lorite's deletion magic. Let's go. No, I got it. We're just gonna play green ramp control. We're gonna abandon her package entirely, and we're gonna start playing 7 disciples again. Those 7. Lorite 7 disciples again. That's it. We've cracked it. It's 7 disciples in this day and age.
Jeremy. My favorite thing in the world is when we don't have anything specific to talk about, and you just start to
vibe.
Just give us some.
I
goodies.
just give you some.
Just give us some
yeah,
spice.
we're giving some spice.
Just...
how deep back in the Force of Will cards can I go?
Hang on, hold up. I'm opening up Force of Wind for the first time in forever. Give me a second.
Yeah, listen, Lorite 7 Illuminaries. Let's go. 3-drop. Give it all those simple skills just by having a Lorite on field.
2 cost.
Oh, jeez.
Resonator. Let's take a look-see here.
There's a lot.
I know.
A lot of good stuff.
27 pages.
Listen, I didn't say 3-drop Thief Sing. I said 2-drop Melfi. Right? I didn't go too crazy here.
You're not going crazy here. I understand. I get it. You know what? Here's the spiciest tech. We ramp into Vampire Bat, pump it with Darkness Will.
That's it.
That's
That's it. You know what we might do? Here's what I think Jeremy, this is gonna. Hold on. This might be a deck building challenge for Paul and I. I think would be really fun. Of using new rulers specifically with older cards. Like we can use the new ruler, but we can only like a certain percentage of our deck has to be like at least 4 years old or something like that. You know what I
Yes.
mean? I think
Oh,
that
that'd be
might
so sick.
that might be kind of fun. That might be kind of fun. I would dig that. Might be. We haven't done one of those deck building challenges in a bit, Paul. That might be a
No,
little
it's
fun.
been a while.
It has
It's been
been.
a while.
I'm just gonna random number generation out of all of these 2-drops, and you guys have to build a deck that specifically centers on whichever one gets rolled.
Ooh, specifically for 2-drop rezos,
Specifically for 2-drop resos.
and we can use any ruler.
any ruler, but the deck
Ooh.
has to focus.
The deck
on
has
this
to focus
2-drop
on that
resonator.
2-drop. I don't hate that. That might actually be kind of fun.
I mean,
RNG
I
2-drop
like a
rezo.
D100 table. Let's go.
Okay. Well, we're not gonna do it tonight. We have stuff to talk about. But when we have the next time we think we're coming up on a dead evening, we'll definitely set that up. Because we'll have tournament data to talk about a little bit next week too. So, enough about me rambling about old cards that I really enjoyed winning with. Let's talk about the new video that dropped today. Thank you to Rio. We got the announcement of the second set of Trinity Cluster, the Battle at the Sacred Ruins, and we got introduced to supposedly all 6 of our new rulers. So that's neat. So here's the poster image, or at least the pseudo bit of the poster image.
Jeremy, I count 7 here.
I understand, but specifically, I think one of them is like a tag team. That the two I think the two bikers will probably be front and back, or the front is one and the backside is the other, because of the way it's described.
I wonder
in the
which
video.
one's gonna be the front.
Crazy. Anywho, because also the video does specifically talk about how like these people would be the ones meeting, and it only references one of the two in that sentence. So we got our characters introduced. First up, we have Hanada. Goliath Hanada, who, if you read the lore about the Trinity Cluster starter decks, Lehen and Yokoshima came out of Valhalla. Yokoshima followed Lehen after Lehen left, realizing that her body wasn't strong enough to be able to keep exploring. And then she was kind of rebirthed into Helen. And then this is very clearly who Yokoshima rebirthed into, Goliath Hanada, a.k.a. Big Bad, but thinks he's good. Technology forever, down with magic. Like magic bad, technology good. Is the pseudo seemings to be the big bad guy of this cluster. He wants to destroy the ancient ruins because he's worried that it will hurt people, I guess, and thinks that it should only be used as a resource, and as such should be manipulated and used to whoever he sees fit, aka globalists. Not getting any. That's not pointed at all.
Can I just say, at that point in the video, there was very much a sense of like there were 2 choices: either explore it and learn about it, or get rid of it. And I'm
Or
like,
just
just like it's in the way.
yeah, it's dangerous. It's dangerous,
Like,
Paul.
hey, this is prime real estate. Okay, we got to get rid of these ancient ruins.
Straight State, you talk about makes no sense. They should keep this single ruler thing going. I think the biker twins are a single ruler. I don't think they're 2 rulers that tag together. I think that one will be on the ruler side and the other will be on the J ruler side. I think that's what they meant. That's what I meant by tag team kind of thing. He probably runs the AAA as a backup group to his normal group. See, I'm not sold on that idea there, 2pin, because of the third character that we're introduced to, and we'll talk about why I don't think that AAA is actually working with Hanada. I don't think so. They seem like they're kind of just like a cult that's just kind of also there. Although maybe it comes out that he's also working with them. But next up we have Zaki, who is the detective person from the academy. She is essentially being commissioned to try to solve the mystery of the ruins before they get destroyed in a hope to prevent it from being destroyed. Meanwhile, her group is like gumming up Hanada using bureaucracy to like stop him from being able to pull the trigger on his giant death cannon. Great. We don't know anything about how these characters play. We just know their background. And here's Zaki. There you go.
Why Zaki look like Zaki hadn't seen sun in?
I just heard someone say.
many
I just heard
years.
someone said. Gives off some very heavy Danganronpa vibes, and I can't get that out of my head.
Oh, it's given Danganronpa. It's given a little bit of L from Death Note too.
Yeah, just like it's really and it's a detective. So yeah, L from Death Note, kind of heavy vibes there. This is the ultimate detective, from Danganronpa.
The numbers, what do they mean?
What do they mean? Play a mini game in my brain. We're gonna snowboard in my brain to solve the puzzle. Anyway, interesting character. But here's why.
I love Danganronpa.
But here's why they're being she's being escorted by Adine, who very much looks like he's a combat medic, who very much looks like a member of the AAA. If you look at the art style here, it matches very similarly to what we've seen on Wu Xiao Wu in terms of the uniform. So this is why I think that Hanada and AAA aren't necessarily working together, because Adine is specifically escorting Zaki to the ruins. So it's like, well, why would a AAA member help Zaki if work for Hanada, who want blow up ruins? Setting up for your sudden but inevitable betrayal. Or I don't know, maybe that's what it is. I got nothing for you there. That's all I got.
You did great, Jeremy.
Another faction.
Another faction.
Another faction.
Next up, we have, this is Alex, the princess of the kingdom of the moon, of the land of the moon.
Land of the
moon.
Paramita of the dead.
Yeah. Yes. So we don't really know anything about her except that she's a princess and that she wants to help and has brought people with her to help. That's all we got. There you go. I have no thoughts. I have no thoughts about Alex except that we finally have another normal name. We've got Alex and Brad.
And we've got more normal names.
Yeah, we got
right?
normal. Lucy is pretty. I mean, the spelling's weird, but then Helen.
Yeah, Helen.
Every single one of the AAA resonators. Robert.
This is just our world.
Yeah.
This is just Europe.
Yeah. And then we have she's bringing two factions to help with her. One is the biker gang, which is led by what are their names? Biaki and Kimie. Biaki is the leader of it, and then like Kimie is the second in command, supposedly. Interesting. Interesting character design.
Jeremy, I see it now.
You see the tongue piercing?
Oh, come on, man.
Can you not unsee it?
Certainly can't. Certainly can't. There's an element of me that wonders if the artist for this has recently watched Hell of a Boss. Because you can't.
Well, actually.
Because you can't tell me that that's not pretty striking in terms of coloring and artistic, like clothing wise, to the little wolf lady from that, Luna from Hell of a Boss.
All right, I'm putting on my tinfoil hat for a second.
We're going for it. We're going deep. This is why we bring Mike back to the podcast. Let's go.
One of I Spy's board directors has to be a suspiciously wealthy furry. To make sure.
No, I don't think that's true. I think
that's a heavy tinfoil
hat.
Hat
You are the heavy tinfoil hats. These are probably going to be
It's Alex Jones conspiracy.
These are probably going to be the red rulers, I imagine. You know, we already know that Laika is like the werebeast and is previously red in the biker gang, so it's very likely that these two are somehow related to the fire cards. So there you go. Don't really know anything about.
Is there any shot that these are just their werebeast forms and they actually have human forms, and I don't have to play against something that somebody definitely likes for the wrong reason on the other side of this board?
I don't know. And then lastly, we have Misung. I'll change the artwork for you here. We have Misung.
Thank you, please.
Who is our big Taoist monk guy. Gives off some very heavy all might energy coming into this.
Gives off major daddy energy.
Yeah.
How does his hair work? Gray Abraham Lincoln, black mustache, Goku hair. Like I just make it make sense.
Anime. There you go. I made it make sense.
He's watercolor. He's not even anime.
Yeah.
He's got more realism than half these cards.
So Monk looks tough. Probably going to be our light ruler, I would imagine. Gives off very color aesthetic wise for being the light ruler. I'm going to just quickly go on down the line. Hanada's going to be blue, I think. Something about it feels blue to me. I think Zaki's going to be darkness. I think Alex is going to be wind. I think Misung is going to be light. I think the bikers are going to be red. And then I think Ideen's going to be void. That's sure. That's my call. That's all I got. I mean, blue's kind of always been like blue in Force of Will has kind of always been related to like science. A lot of times, like Machina, everything else like that. So Hanada being blue makes sense to me. You cannot look at Zaki and give me that there's any inkling that that character will be anything other than darkness. Like just very clearly in like the attribute, just like everything about it.
It's been a long time since we've gotten like a legitimate darkness hero. Like,
yeah,
you know, somebody who is leading against like a clear like what's the word I'm looking for, like a deterrent force or like an opposition force. So that's kind of neat. I like that.
Yeah, it'd be neat. Overall, these characters look sick. It's kind of nice that there was always some question about, we're going into Trinity cluster, new cluster. Hero cluster did a great job of introducing us to a bunch of new characters, but then also brought back a bunch of old characters by the end of it. So it was like, what are we doing? Is it new characters? Is it old characters? What's happening? And so Trinity cluster has like out the gate just been like, no, new people. Straight up. Not new people potentially influenced by the past. Ooh, Moon Children. But like new people. Like new people. And so that's felt kind of cool. I think I'm grateful for that for sure. Mm-hmm. That's just nice. Hanada is Fauchin reincarnated?
To him.
I don't think so.
Whenever the monk here gets a new anime reference added to his repertoire, he also adds another dot to his 6-packs.
And there you go. Yeah, new rulers and people is good. Also, I was playing with Holsheiser the other day, Stephen Holsheiser, and he said that he said somehow he had his doubts going into this cluster, going into single rulers, that I Spy would find a way to create single rulers that felt playable while not also being so outrageously stronger than anything else that came before, right? That they would find that, like, he was nervous that they would find that sweet spot. And in the games that we've been playing, he was like, no, I think they did it. Like, I think they figured it out. Like, it's not all of them. Not every single ruler can be a banger, right? Especially if they're going to continue to support them without the cluster. But, like, the fact that we have some right out the gate, I think it's 3 or 4 of them right out the gate that are, like, absolutely able to play on par with dual ruler decks and feel fine without overpowering them and have, like, really good games. All of my games lately have been, like, close. Like, everything's been close and interactive and fun. Which has been great. And that's me even playing like hyper-optimized Seer Abdul. So, it's been good.
Sweet.
It's legit if Holshizer's like totally on board with it.
Yeah.
Because that man got his opinions, and I love him for it. And I know that if I give him something and I tell him that something wildly outlandish, he's gonna come back to me and be like, "Nah."
Yeah, for sure.
He'll tell you.
He'll tell you. Can always trust on
Perfect.
Holshizer to give you his opinion.
Love
So I
that
do want to
man
say
with my
this.
entire heart.
This has been interesting though to me. And this brings up an interesting question about it's tangentially related to the reworking protocol, but also to the idea of the Memoria packs in general. What older cards, and when I say older, I mean like at least 2 full clusters old. Like so we're in Trinity cluster, right? So now I'm talking about cards that are like no like older than dual cluster, like cards that came before dual cluster. What are cards in your minds that have suddenly been, this is a softball question for Mike, because if he doesn't name this card off the top of his head, I'm going to punch him in the face. I'll travel to California and punch him in the face. What cards from so we're talking about Atlas Origins and Saga Cluster that are suddenly seeing play in these new decks that I think are worth exploring and picking up. Mike, what do you think? What card do you think?
Sorry, what card do I think from Saga Cluster?
Yeah, from Saga Cluster has suddenly been a card that is something people might want to look into picking up, or like might even be so old but so playable that it might warrant a slot in the Memoria collection.
Well, Jeremy, it's tough to say. I wonder if there's a certain ruler.
I'm going to start buying a plane ticket. Podcast next week will be just me showing up to Mike's house and punching him in the face. What is the card, Mike?
I'm so ready for my bitey lady.
What is the card, Mike? Not that was printed in a Memoria cluster, but should use a printing in a Memoria pack because of its playability and how old it is. Mike!
Hold on. Oh, wait a minute. This thing hasn't been fucking reprinted? Kiki's in the chat.
Thank you! Jeez Louise, my guy! Ah!
Oh, I forgot that thing wasn't reprinted with the whole ass exploration thing. I legitimately, Mandela affected myself into thinking that it was just in the starter deck.
Kiki's in the chat. Seriously, Kiki for sure.
Just to be clear, I also did not think Kiki. I
Y'all
just
are...
bought Mikage because Mikage got no support, and I'm like, hey, what if in Wanderer we just gave Mikage support next time?
No. I'm talking about an old card that actually existed. Not we're suddenly making new cards. I'm talking about old cards that actually existed and are suddenly playable again.
Doing more sense now.
See, now it makes more sense.
Yeah, jeez Louise. Oh my gosh. Cards to me
Paul,
that
you
I
are
think
gonna collectively give Jeremy
I'm gonna punch you both in the face. Other cards to me that have suddenly started getting good is Shackles of Ice is a card that has returned, right? We have rulers that have activate abilities on their front side and back side. So that's something for sure that is suddenly playable again. Shackles of Ice has received a promo, though, if I remember correctly, so that's helpful, at least. Little snowman. Don't Cheat. Suddenly coming back as a big card. It's really good against Lehen. It's really, really good against Lehen.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's just like, oh, get wrecked. Don't cheat. Interestingly enough, some 2-drop spot removal that is starting to come back that I wouldn't be surprised to see start coming back. Things like, especially if we're in blue-white, I wouldn't be surprised to see things like Sacred Waveblade come back as being something people might consider playing, because it can also pop additions, right? Because you have to be able to play 2-drop spot removal in this format, or you die to Sphinx.
Gets around Eternal.
And it gets around Eternal. Like, you have to be able to answer Sphinx in this environment. So Sacred Waveblade is certainly a card. Yeah, buying the plane ticket as I speak. We're going. I got miles. I can burn miles. Girl Staring At, really good. Yep. So, like...
Oh, you know something
Federal
great,
Excalibur.
guys? I'm gonna do a quick aside back to our talk about the 2-drop challenge.
I'm listening.
Do you want to know who I just realized is a 2-drop?
Yeah.
Our girl Martha Lipponen.
Stop.
And I really hope Orange Jesus is
I mean,
looking
I'll
down on
just
me
go build
favorably.
Prego OTK. I would just go build Prego
There we
OTK at that
go.
point in time. We're also coming into an interesting, Minha talks about looking forward to this weekend and next weekend. We're about to come into like a bunch of back-to-back events, right? We've got Ruler School Circuit this weekend. We've got the weekend after that is Berlin, the GP in Berlin. The weekend after that is the Ruler School Circuit at Odyssey Games, which is like more for my locals and stuff, but that'll be a fun time and we'll stream it. And the weekend after that is the GP. So we got 4 back-to-back weekends of competitive FOW. It's a pretty packed month. Converging Wheels is also on the 22nd. Yeah, Converging Wheels online event is also on the 22nd. Shinpo, can you put the Discord for Converging Wheels in the chat, please, so we can get people linked to that? That's going to be a huge event that people are definitely going to want to play in if you can't get to the Ruler School Circuit event. The Popper Ruler School event as well. Mexico also has an online GP as well. That's pretty like we're gaming. We got lots of events this month. A lot of chances to play. The OLS continues to happen every Friday. This past week they had 12 players in the OLS, which is sick. It's just been a very fun environment to experiment with. I'm really enjoying it. I find myself like I recorded Helen this past week, and normally when we build stuff for the channel, because we're trying to burn through stuff as fast as possible, I'll like build a deck, then the next day record the deck profile and disassemble it immediately, and it goes out of my brain. And my locals is in 2 days, and I still haven't disassembled Helen, and I'm not sure that I'm going to yet. It's just like, this deck was also just a lot of fun to play, and I enjoyed playing it, so I think I'll keep it around unless someone, if someone wants to play against it. You know what I mean? That's like, with Grim Cluster, I had a lot of ideas for Pilgrim Memories, but almost all of them were just like, I was totally fine just doing a one and done, move on to the next one, outside of Grim Alice and Seer Abdul. Like, every other build I went, I was like, I played it once, I tried it, we move on, right? And that's fine. But already at the gate, I'm really liking the rulers. It's fun. It's goofy. It's silly. It's off the cuff. They're fun to play. So it's good. Yeah. Lots of data. Oh yeah, and the OLS is now providing promos to top 6 of every event. So that's pretty cool. Promos for playing in a free event every week. So that's really neat. I don't really have a lot else to say other than that, like, we're kind of in a really great spot. It's pretty chill. Got lots of events. No real drama. Cool stuff coming out. Cool stuff to play.
Yeah.
Cool news.
Yeah, it just feels like this is the time to just like really deck build and test and do all kinds of cool things. I've just been putting cool cards for Utsunes in a deck list.
Yeah, that was me too. When I was like first looking at Gandinia a little bit, and first looking at Utsunes as well. Same with Yokoshima and like the updated Yokoshima and Lehen that we're going to do. I was just kind of like, here's every card. Now what? Like, now I have to try to parse it down to what I actually want to do. Which is kind of a cool space to be, right? I mean, Wu Xiaowu kind of built himself just because of how he was designed. Helen, in many ways, kind of built herself. If you want to go for the alt win con, which, by the way, you really don't have to. Like, I was playing with Holshash the other day, and I was realizing just how ridiculous insatiable desire for knowledge is. If you're just like playing the game, every single game we played, I was like, oh, by the way, just by doing this random exploration nonsense and hitting an draw, tap exploration, draw again, or tap power or desire for knowledge, draw again off of that, recover, 3 stones untapped, move to combat. 28 damage represented on board by a bunch of 1-drops. Then it's like, oh, you spent a bunch of will to stop me from killing you? Cool. Flip alt win con. It's just like, oh, there's actually something to this, that you can just kill them. So there's a lot of fun stuff to be able to play around with. Feels like the old days of being able to play and build and just play decks and this will be fun and provide close games even if not meta. Yeah, I would agree. I think we have some very clear things to kind of be drawn to if you're thinking competitively. But like, it's not by any stretch. I mean, I think even more so now, it's like play something that feels comfortable, that has a bunch of 50-50 matchups, and then play tight. Because the odds are that playing a bunch of 50-50s, as long as you play well, is like, yeah, that's a skill thing. So you don't have to worry about, oh, I got paired up into my worst matchup ever. You know, unless you're specifically Solaria and you sit down across from a Lehen, you pretty much have a chance regardless of what you're playing. So it's neat.
100%.
Older rulers with newer text. Hey, listen, I've got Seer Abdul built, and then we've already got, in terms of Grim Cluster rulers that we're looking back on, we're looking at Sherry Alt Wincon, Spirit control, 3 Wishes control. We're talking about Kane, Jeanne d'Arc, human mid-range that we're building. That's going to be a lot of fun. Probably something Pandora-y. I'm thinking Pandora plus True Red. I think that actually might be pretty cool. A Pandora plus True Red build. I don't know. Something about that feels fun. To me, green, black, white is also like my favorite color combination. So it's like very easy for me to play. And then, we're seeing lots of cool stuff being built. So Aristella 1. Yeah, that's pretty fun. So yeah, good things. I don't know. Any questions in the chat? Otherwise, we can just end it early. Call it a night.
Yeah.
It's a chill night.
I gotta get back to the
comments, questions, concerns.
Yeah, you gotta go build some decks.
I gotta go figure out what I'm doing for dinner soon.
That's true.
Stir fry.
I have to go play
I didn't take
Hades
any meat,
too.
Unfortunately.
I don't know.
We could talk about this. What sandwich would...
I'm not done. Okay, and with that, this has been myself, DMO73, and I've been joined, as always, by Mike Rants.
If Paul was a sandwich.
And Paul Reisman.
Roadkill sandwich.
Saying thank you very much. Saying thank you very much, and class dismissed. Have a good night, everybody. Have fun deck building. See you all soon.